Hello, it's another cold and crisp day today, and I don't know why I keep commenting on it, because it is winter, and so what else would we expect? And this morning I'm topping up the chickens' food, putting a bit of apple cider vinegar in their water, and just generally making sure that they're doing okay. The sun is out. I'm standing in the sunshine. I can feel the warmth, which is really lovely, but I still don't think that it has warmed the ground sufficiently to do anything in the garden at all. So it may well be another inside day. Some more studying. I can hear the ducks. A bit more studying and a bit more cooking some meals to go into the freezer for days when I just don't feel like cooking. As yet the ice hasn't defrosted on the ground. There are some puddles of wet, but there's still quite a lot of ice. Do you know what? These ducks, they don't seem to mind. I admire their resilience. But certainly rather them than me. Off they go. While I'm out in the garden, I might as well do a quick walk through and show you what we've still got growing here. So in the first bed on my right, that's where I had put 3 rows of carrots. They've all been eaten by slugs. Then the raspberries, which went in the autumn, and I've interplanted those with some onions, which are looking like they're doing pretty well. There are definitely onion looking things there, so hopefully that will give us a nice early crop next year. And then some cabbages and purple sprouting broccoli, which is just lovely. Then there is a bed filled with leeks, which we're harvesting bit by bit as we want them, and they're great because they'll just stand in the ground throughout the cold weather. As will the parsnips, which, although the top growth is dying back, there are some fairly hefty old sized parsnips in this bed. And then there's a bit of weeds, where I haven't done anything with that bed as yet, but I will do. And then the next bed, which I've covered, and one of its supports has collapsed. This has got the broad beans in it, which are just coming up. Sorry about my shaky camera work here, I'm really cold. And beyond the broad beans, are some strawberries and a couple of empty beds. And at the back here are the raspberries, which quite incredibly are still fruiting. Yum. And further back, the squash plants have all now died off in the frost, and they've just left behind the fruit bushes here, and there's a gooseberry over there, and there's another currant over there, and one sort of at the back there. Then walking back down the other side of the garden, the artichokes are doing fine, although I do need to get some straw over them to protect them. Some more purple sprouting broccoli that should flower much later, so hopefully that will be a post-Christmas crop. I'm just checking as I talk. Yeah, they don't look ready yet, and with them are some January King cabbages. And I've grown the January King and the spring greens, not for us, but for the chickens. Should we get a lockdown situation again where the chickens have to be kept inside, can't really get out on grass very much, then at least I can give them some fresh produce. Next bed, more onions. These aren't the only onions we're going to grow next year, but these ones should ripen earlier than ones I plant in spring. That is an empty bed, apart from these two bergamot plants, which I just love. I love the smell of. That was the very, very weedy bed that I didn't get to tackle at all last year, so that's covered in plastic. And then a bed of kale and cabbages. And these are Savoy cabbages that have, well, they've either been eaten or they've started to bolt. But either way, they are still useful. The centres will be fine for us, and if I peel the outside leaves off while I'm still in the garden, then the chickens can have those. And then there's plenty of kale, and this is a black kale, Cavallo Nero. I don't like this either, but my sister does, and the chickens do. And then another weedy bed, which is all covered up, ready for using in spring. This bed had the Belotti beans in it, so that's had plenty of organic matter put onto it, and it's covered for the winter, just because at the time I didn't have any straw or any wood chippings to put on it, and as soon as I get some more wood chippings, that plastic will come off and be replaced by a nice thick layer of wood chippings. And the next bed has leeks at that end and is covered in a nice layer of mulch for the winter at this end. The strawberry beds, they're looking okay. I'm pleased with those. And at the end, this bed is partly harvested and partly planted, so there's plenty of rainbow chard along there. I don't like the leaves, the chickens do, but the chickens don't like the stalks, and luckily I do, so that works quite well. And there are a few cabbages and onions planted at this end, which means that we will get a fairly early crop of cabbage next year as well. So I'm quite pleased. The annual vegetable garden is looking, well, it's looking quite good, I think. And out here in the food forest, the leaves are off the trees, and most of the currant bushes and things are starting to die back, which is great because it gives me a chance to just have a look and see how things are, and also to have the ducks out here dibbling around and removing as many slugs and snails as they can find. Well, that's it for me today. It's really cold out here. I need to go in and get warm again. And so, wherever you are in the world and whatever you're up to today, I hope it's a good one for you. And I also hope you can join me again tomorrow.